actually grew up in Arizona, in Mesa, Gilbert area. I lived in Tucson for a while, so I always love coming back down here. It feels a little bit like coming home in a lot of ways. I still have a lot of family in the area. And I'm glad to be here with you guys today. It's always interesting doing these Super Saturdays because you think you kind of have a feel for the people that are in the room, but you're never quite sure. It's not like when you go do a core vital behaviors training or other things that I do. And so what I want to do today is try to talk to everybody, but on a level hopefully that will have some impact for you, right? Because one of the reasons why we come to Super Saturdays is to get information. For coaches, it's kind of a recharge point, if you will, right? You've been burning the batteries a little bit, now you get to come in and recharge a little bit here at Super Saturday. And I know we also have some people in the room that aren't coaches, that are looking at Beachbody and hoping that this year this can be the difference maker for them in reaching some of their health and fitness goals. To do that, I want to share a couple things with you real quick, okay? I always start with our mission. To help people achieve their goals and live a healthy, fulfilling life. For coaches, to align yourself to this mission really is to understand what it is to be a Beachbody coach. It's about people. It's about making a difference in people's lives. For those of you that aren't coaches in the room, this is about you. This is what we want for you. Okay? When your coach is talking to you and trying to get you into these accountability groups and making you tell them when they did this and checking on you because you didn't post this, they're not doing it to annoy you. Okay? They're doing it because they care. And they're doing it because our goal is to make a difference in people's lives. And we do that with a really simple model. But it's a very unique model. There's no other place in the world that has this combination of fitness with nutrition, with peer support, and then for our coaches with the rewards that come from helping people do that. It's so funny, you have a lot of companies that maybe have a couple different options, a lot of solutions, they'll have one or two components of that. You even have some that say they have all three, but they really don't. It kind of fizzles out on the soul support side. Once they've got the transaction of you purchasing from them, the support kind of fizzles. For us, that's the reason why support is really the key differentiator for our coach, for what we do. If you hear Carl talk about Beachbody, this company that he started originally was an infomercial company. That's Carl's background. But the frustration that he had started with this mission. This was the mission that he was going for. And infomercial people would buy the programs, and he calls it the cellophane barrier. Right? They would get it, they would look at it, they wouldn't know what to do with it, they'd stick it in the drawer, and they'd forget about it. That's where our coach network came into play. That was the genesis behind it, was to get past that, was to help people. So, this unique system that we've got, okay? Fitness, nutrition, peer support, and then rewards. That peer support is a critical differentiator. For our coaches, this model provides an amazing platform for you to partner with the most recognized, worldwide, respected and recognized brand in fitness. And to use that to be able to help people make the decision to get started and then provide that ongoing support. We've had two things lately that have been introduced, and you're going to hear about them in the video, right? First, we talked a lot about the health bet for our coaches that we've got going on right now. Again, helping people make the decision to start. This is the time of the year when they do that. The health bet is designed to do that. You've got a few more days to help people get started, get going with this health bet program. That might be what it takes for them. Hey, you want to get started? Hey, why don't we just kind of put a little skin in the game here? Let's just put a little additional incentive on there with the health bet. And then we also just recently announced our annual all-access Beachbody On Demand Challenge Pack. Okay, have all of you heard about that? If you're not, you're going to hear more about it today. A phenomenal offer, an incredible value for our customers. And if you look at both of those components, you can start to see this model in play. Fitness, nutrition, support, and then rewards for our coaches. One of the things that we're going to really focus on this year, talking specifically to our coaches right now, this year is going to be Shakeology. You're going to see the company talk a lot about Shakeology. You're going to hear about it in the video, you're going to hear more about it coming out, and the reason is because we need to help as a group. We need to be better at being able to talk to people about why Shakeology is so important. Why is it so important? Well, it's the key to helping people get, and then keep those results. It's not just a shake. It's more than just shake. And if we don't understand how to talk about it, then people are going to go, well, it's just a shake. I can get a shake anywhere. That's true. But you can't get this anywhere. Right? For our coaches, Shakeology is also important because that's the foundation of your residual income. And honestly, I don't know, again, coaches that are in here, there's lots of different opportunities for you to reward it as you help people. And some of you might be in here and you just kind of like the commission side of it, and that's fine. But the ultimate reward of a coach is this ongoing passive residual income that they can create for themselves. And at the base of that is Shakeology. So it's really, really important that you understand that. Listen to this Inside Shakeology podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I want you to open up your iPhone if you've got it, get that, subscribe to it, listen to those podcasts. A simple way to increase your knowledge and understanding about Shakeology. And again, as you hear more and more of the tools that are going to come out this year, pay attention to those pieces, you guys. Because it's all about helping people get results and keep those results. And it's one of the things that sets us apart. We go beyond just transactions, you guys, as coaches. We go beyond transactions. We build relationships. We help people make lasting lifestyle changes for themselves. When we focus on people, that becomes a very natural thing that we do. And I got to tell you, I love that part of it. So one of the things that we're asking all of our coaches this year, again, one of our New Year's resolutions time, right? But in the month of January, if you're a coach in here, I want you to think about 2 households. 2 people, at least. Who are 2 people that you can help get started in January? They're thinking about it. They're considering it. Maybe they don't believe in themselves. Maybe they don't think they can actually do it. Maybe they're afraid to try because they've tried before and they failed. Maybe that's where you can step in now and be the difference maker. But you'll never know if you don't ask. So we're asking all of our coaches to help at least 2, to help 2, with the social media tag, hashtag help 2. And set a goal to help at least 2 people get started with the annual All Access Challenge Path by the end of the month. Just 2 people. Doing that, you get in Success Club. Okay? Cool prize in Success Club this month, all that stuff, okay? But will you guys do that, coaches? Can I get you to commit to that if you haven't already? To commit to that, to believe that this is how I'm going to start my year, by at least helping 2 people. Can I get you guys to do that for me? Okay, 12 of you said yes. Okay. I'm going to ask someone, can you guys do that for me, please? Do it for yourself. Do it for those people who need that. You guys can do that. You can do that. You want to start the year strong? Here's a great way to start the year strong. Now, whenever I come to these, I like to take this opportunity, and those of you that know me know that I tend to tell stories. I like to tell, because I think they help people, stick things into their mind. I know that there are a lot of you coaches, some of you coaches, let me say that. Some of you coaches in here feel like you're just lost in this sea of people. You hear the words like, hey, we have over 400,000 coaches, and you just feel super insignificant. I know when people stand up to be recognized, that you're one of those coaches that goes, here I am again, another Super Saturday. I didn't get to stand up. But you're here. And somewhere in your mind, you're going, you wonder if it matters. You wonder if what you do matters. You wonder if you have any importance in the coach network. I'm here to tell you that you do matter. Every stinking one of you matter. Sorry, stinking, that's probably not the most loving way to say that. It's my 4 kids whenever it stinks out of me, okay? But every one of you matters. It's my conviction and my experience that you matter because your life has uniquely qualified you to touch other people in ways that they haven't been touched before. That you can inject in them belief and confidence that you'll be able to touch them and have given them courage to take the step to make a change in a way that no one else has been able to do it, because no one's gone through what you've gone through in your life to put you in this spot. But you've got to open your mouth. You've got to believe that that's possible. If you're going to, being a coach is a very external thing, meaning it's not about you. Being a coach isn't about you. It's about other people. That whole idea that our mission is to help people live healthy, fulfilling lives, to reach their goals. As a coach, you're the facilitator. So you don't take on responsibility when other people say no, because that's their choice. That's not on you. You don't need to take on that responsibility when people don't stick to things. That's their choice. It's not on you. You can't let those things cause you to shrink. And for some of you that are afraid to even put yourself out there, guys, I know coaching sometimes can be very vulnerable. I know it's not easy. And for some of you in this room, it taxes you in a way that you are probably scared to admit to people. I get it. But I promise you that what you do matters. It matters to the company, it matters to the people you touch, and it will matter to you for the growth that it will give you. I know that from a personal experience that I have had recently. Now, I'm going to start. This is my daughter, Caitlin. I got 4 kids. She's my second oldest child. My 2 oldest children have special needs, a disability called Fragile X syndrome. My daughter is one of those 2 that have that disability. My son, if you were to talk to my son, you could look at my son, and in about 5 seconds you know, okay, well, wait, something's a little off, okay? My daughter's not that way. She's not affected as severely as my son due to the nature of the disability. I call her my girl between 2 worlds, because she's not severely enough disabled to kind of be put in that category where people kind of go out of the way to give them understanding and give them room to operate. But she's not fully in the normal, quote-unquote, range either. So she spends a lot of time alone. We go to our, and I apologize, I didn't get a lot of sleep this week, so if I get emotional here, just bear with me. For those of you that have special needs, we have what they call an IEP meeting, where you go and you sit down with everyone that's involved. I see some nodding of heads. And they sit down with their teachers and the occupation therapists and the speech therapists and all the people that are involved in supporting your child, and they have a roadmap on what your child's doing. And you talk through it. And every time we would sit down and talk with these meetings, it would always be very positive with Kayla. She's a sweetheart. She's got a heart of gold. But towards the end, the conversation would always come up, or I would bring it up, how is she doing socially? And time after time, it would be the same thing. Well, we're concerned, because she eats lunch by herself. And at recess, she'll kind of go and she'll find a place where she can just kind of sit by herself until recess is over, and then she'll go back into class. And we would talk to Caitlin about this, and you could tell in her mind, without her articulating it, is she just she couldn't keep up. I mean, kids that age, especially girls, sometimes cannot be the most friendly, right? And it takes just getting stung a couple times before she realized, you know what, I don't want to venture that way. And so she wouldn't. And it broke my heart, because she's a wonderful girl. And I would just pray that someday someone would see that and give her room to be her. She's very, it's like she doesn't understand sarcasm or that kind of thinking, and so she's really easy to tease, and she's susceptible to it, that kind of stuff. So, 2 summers ago now, I was driving home from work. And what I usually did, if I had to go on an errand after work, I'd always swing by my house, and I would get Caitlin, because I knew every single day she would come home from school, she would sit on the couch, and she would watch the Disney Channel. She's like a teenager. She loves it. You tell her, you talk about Justin Bieber, she gets embarrassed. I mean, she's that way. It's so typical, but it's so atypical in so many ways. But I knew she would be home alone. And this was her way, my way, of me helping her get out. So I came home and I said, hey, Caitlin, we're going to go to the orange store, which for some reason in my house, that's what we call Home Depot. I don't know why we call it the orange store. We should call Home Depot, but we call it the orange store. So I said, well, I want to go to the orange store with me. And Caitlin goes, no. And I knew she'd say no, because she always says no. But I also know my daughter. So I say, if we go, I'll get you a root beer. She said, okay, we'll go. So she goes. And we get in the car, and my wife, I didn't get a chance to talk to my wife. She was teaching some piano lessons in the other room. So my daughter and I, we get in the car, and we're driving down the hill from my house towards the orange store. As we're going down the hill, I kept seeing my daughter. She kind of looked up at me, and then she looked forward. And I looked down at her, and she looked up at me, she looked forward, and she looked down. And it was strange. It was out of character for her to do that. So finally, I looked over and I said, Caitlin, are you okay? She kind of shook her head like this, and it was quiet for a few minutes. And then out of nowhere, she just kind of looked up at me and she said, Daddy, did you know that I have fragile X? And that means I have a special brain and I'm different from other kids. I have never felt so inadequate to be a parent in my life as I did in that moment. I pulled the car over, and I was trying to keep myself together, and I hugged her, and I just said, baby, you are just how God created you, and you are a wonderful person, and I love you. And you are beautiful, and you are amazing, and the words that came out of my mouth felt so insufficient for that moment that it still pains me to this day. I wish I would have had better words, but I didn't know what to say to her. But what had happened was, that was the moment when she had come home from school and she had been being teased a little bit. And she was talking to my wife about this. And my wife, at that moment, kind of explained to her. She was noticing that she was different and she didn't understand why. And my wife explained to her what it was. And she was grappling with that. She was trying to understand what that meant on this drive to the orange store. She has a very special place in my heart for that reason. Later on that year, towards the middle end of the summer of that year, there was a knock on our door at our house. About 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and there was a girl there, her name was Sarah, from the neighborhood. And I opened the door and she said, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Which is weird, because usually teenage girls don't come to my house asking me to talk to them. And so I said, me? And she goes, well, you and your wife. And I said, okay. And she came in and she sat down and she just said, she goes, I was just thinking about something. My wife and her mom were friends. And she said, I was just made captain of the high school cross-country team. Do you think Caitlin would come run cross-country? If she would come run it, I'll take care of her. I'll make sure that she's involved and she's included if she'll come. And we both were like, oh, okay, yeah, no, thank you. And we kind of hummed and hawed a little bit. We said we'd let her know, and she left. And I remember we closed the door, and my wife and I both looked at each other with this understanding in our eyes. It was like, if she could do this, this could be a way for her to connect with people. And they're running, so there's not going to be a lot of talking. And she might be able to and we got ourselves, it was so hopeful, but we knew that our daughter was not, my daughter she kind of hides from the world. Okay? So we went in there. I remember she was sitting in her same spot, because she sits in the same spot on the same couch every time. Okay? This part of the disability is kind of, she has routines. And if you go sit in her spot and all the other seating in the room is open, she will just stand by the chair. She won't ask you to leave. She will just stand there until you leave, and then she will sit there, which is really awkward when guests come over and they're sitting in her spot. And she's just like... So we go in the other room, and she's sitting there, and we said, Caitlin, we have a question for you. And she said, what? We said, do you want to run cross-country with the high school team? Sarah just came over, and she invited you to come run cross-country. And she says, what's cross-country? And we said, it's running. And she goes, what do you mean it's running? It's just running, like in races. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, Caitlin, come on, please. You would love it. It'd be so good. It'd be so fun. And she's like, no, 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 no. And my wife was talking to her, and all of a sudden, I had this little blast of inspiration because my daughter, she's a teenage girl, right? Like I said, you talk about One Direction, and she punches me in the arm, right? I mean, it's like super. Anyway, one of the things that my daughter likes, like most girls her age, is clothes. So I said, Caitlin, here's something you got to think about, though. If you run cross country, we're going to have to go to the Nike store and get you 2 outfits. And she looked at me and she goes, 2 outfits? I said, 2 outfits. 2 shoes? Now, when she says 2 shoes, she doesn't mean one. She means 2 pair of shoes. And at that point, I was like, 10 pair, whatever. So I was like, yeah, 2 shoes. And she was like, okay. And I remember my wife and I just paused. We're like, okay, yeah, you'll do it. Yes, we'll make 2 outfits, and I'll try. And I'm like, okay. And we tried to act nonchalant. We kind of walked in the other room. We were like, yeah, all right. So we call Sarah, and she says, okay. She goes, I'll come get her. And so that night, I mean, bedtime be damned, right? We're like, we're gonna go to the Nike store right now and go get this stuff. We're straight on. So we went to the Nike store. We called Sarah, and that next morning, at 6:15. There was a knock on our door, and it was Sarah. My daughter, one of the good things about my daughter, Caitlin, is when she gets something in her mind that's part of a routine, she locks in. She was up at 6 o'clock. She was ready to go by 6:15. The door came. She didn't even say goodbye. She just went, knock, 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 Caitlin opened the door, walked out, and left. We're like, and every single morning that summer, Sarah was at our house and picked up our daughter. She would take her across country, and for the first month, she was her shadow. And I know Sarah runs a lot faster than my daughter, but she stuck with my daughter. And in the course of that, she started introducing her to people on the cross-country team. And towards the end of the year, towards the end of the preseason, I guess, she had paired her up with a couple girls that were about her same speed. And now Caitlin, she'd come get her, and she would put her in her group. And Caitlin started to build some friendships. But Sarah was always there to kind of watch and make sure that she was doing okay. She took my daughter under her wing and did something that has changed her life. 2 months after that day happened, the first cross-country meet came. Came time for that. And we heard about it, and we asked Caitlin, hey, are you ready to go run the race? I'm not going to run the race, because it's kind of an optional thing. She said, I'm not going to run the race. So I bribed her with socks. I like some long, stretchy socks. Got some new ones for the race. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And she decided she was going to run in this meet. And we told her how excited I was. Like, I'm so excited to go, kids. It'll be so fun. And of course, like a teenager, she's like, you're not coming. And I'm like, I'm not. She's like, no, I'm not. So we're driving down to the high school, and she makes us drop her off a little bit before everything. She gets out of the car and runs to her friends, and we're like, okay, bye. And we drove around the block, so she didn't think we were leaving. And we parked in the parking lot and got in the stands, because we were going to miss this. So we're in the stands, and I've got to paint this for you just a little bit. We're sitting on the stands of the football field. There's the football field right here in the middle, and they all line up at about the 50-yard line. The course takes them out through down the 50 yards of the football field, out the football stadium, down through, goes around a block, serpentines through a field, then goes around a block, and then comes back. It's a 1-mile loop. They do it 3 times. And we're sitting in the stands, and we're looking at Caitlin. We can always tell where Caitlin is because she wears that green hat. She's the only cross-country runner that I've seen that wears a hat, which makes it really easy to pick her out in a crowd. There's probably about 200 of these girls lined up in the field, and I can see Caitlin, and she's got Sarah's got her right on her hip, and she's walking around, and she's explaining things to Caitlin, and just before the gun gets off, she takes her kind of to the back with her running buddies, make sure she's set, and then Sarah goes to the front. The gun goes off, and they start running. And I'm in the stands trying to not let my daughter see me because she will get mad, and I don't want her to be mad. I want this to be a positive experience. And so she starts running. And this is me taking a picture from the top of the stands, looking down on this field that's behind her where they're running through. And my two youngest kids, by the way, they're just like at this point, I don't know, I feel bad for them sometimes because I'm like Anthony Robbins on them right at this point. You see what she's doing? This is so look at her, she's running this right. I'm like going crazy. I'm like going on her. I was like, Dad, like we get it already. Okay? But I'm looking over the stands and I see Caitlin and she's running. And she's running with her partner. And she's just kind of with her every step of the way, and they're running together. That was through lap 1. What I started to notice towards the end of lap 1, the beginning of lap 2, was Caitlin would run ahead of this girl that was her partner. Okay? You kind of see her in lap 2. And at this point, you guys, I got to tell you something. They're last. Like, there is no one behind them. It's these girls. And Caitlin was running ahead, and she would get probably 10 or 15 feet ahead of her partner, and then she would do this. And then she would run back and run with her for a little bit, and then when she stopped kind of slow, she would get ahead of her, and then she'd turn around and run back again. And she would go this way. And about 3/4 of the way through the second lap, I saw her doing things that honestly, I just started, like, I was so proud of her. But she would run ahead, and then she would look at her, she would clap her and say, "You can do it." She would, like, give her a thumbs up. She wasn't going to leave her partner. Because Sarah said not to. Sarah said stay with her. And so that's what she was doing. They came through the third lap, and sorry, I wish these were better pictures. I didn't realize I'd be doing a presentation with this someday. I would have used a better camera. But the third lap, they came in and as they were coming out of the stadium, the football field on the third lap, their coach was there, because they're the last ones in the race. And I can't hear what their coach is saying, but this is what I see happen. I see her go to Caitlin and go, "What's wrong?" Kind of shrugs her shoulders. And Caitlin kind of points at the girl behind her, and I see her kind of like, I don't know, I think she's okay, I'm not sure. And then I see the coach do this. "It's okay, you go, I'll take care of her. You go." And so Caitlin was like, "I can go?" And the coach said, "Yes." And my daughter put her head down, and she started running. And I can't really see it too well, but she ran basically that whole third lap by herself. Which was very symbolic to me in my mind of my daughter and how she's going to be running her race in life and spending a lot of time alone. She put her head down and she ran. And gosh dang it, she's pretty quick. And as she came into the stadium, actually before they came in, you're watching, and I saw that she might catch the girl in front of her. And I was cheering for her. At this point, she saw me. I knew she was getting mad at me because I couldn't help myself at this point. I was yelling like a psycho for her. And she came in and she ran and she passed 2 girls as she came in and finished the race. And as she was coming around that last part of the track, I was grabbing my 2 youngest and we're going to go down, walking down the stage. And in my mind, I had this image of me being there, and she crosses the finish line, and I go and I hug her, and we have this moment, and I'm crying like an idiot, because that's what I am. I used to not be this way, but I got kids and married for them like this weird, emotional, weird male guy. So in my mind, I get there, and I see all this happening, and as I get on this field to go, the track to walk across to go to the finish line, I look up, and who do I see? Who's waiting for already at the finish line? Sarah. Sarah's grabbed the whole team. And they're sitting at that finish line, cheering for my daughter. And I stopped. I let her run, she runs in the arms of her friends. And I just, for a minute, she was fine. That makes sense. But after that minute, I did run over and get a picture of her. So I didn't make sure we got that. Okay. We didn't have our daddy moment, but it was after she had been with all her friends. And that year, and this year, she's run cross country. Now this year was different. Sarah didn't have to come pick her up every morning. Caitlin, we would take her to cross country, and when she got there, Sarah was always there. Sarah still takes care of her. Sarah still watches out for her. But now she encourages Caitlin to be with the team. My daughter Caitlin, this one 2 years ago, this recluse, this is her first year now in high school as a sophomore. And my daughter she's changed completely. She comes home from school and she talks about what she did with her friends. Every shirt she owns now says PGXC, Pleasant Grove Cross Country. She is so proud to be a cross country runner. This year now she's running indoor track. Why is she running indoor track? She still doesn't like running, FYI. But she's running track because that's what her friends are doing. Her cross country friends are doing that. She identifies as a cross country runner. And she runs, and she runs, and she runs. She has a meet today. Okay? Her first track meet today. I'm excited for that. Here's the point. I don't know what that girl will go on and do in her life. But I know in our house, she's a saint. We love her. We hold her in the highest esteem because she single-handedly has changed my daughter's life. She's given her confidence, a place to be. She's given her a feeling of importance, of belonging, that she's valued. Sarah. So coaches, I don't know if your business is going to make you $1 million. I don't know if you're ever going to get to be a superstar elite fighter. And honestly, I think those are great goals to have for your business. I think you've helped a lot of people. I'm not diminishing that. But I don't know what that means for you. But I do know this. I know that you have the opportunity to be a Sarah. And when people come to you and they're like, well, I don't know, and you get wrapped up in that, stop yourself. Be the one that believes in them. Be the one that sees something in them that other people don't. Be the one that their whole life, maybe they've walked a certain way because people have told them certain things, or they built this belief in their mind, but you're going to be different. You're going to be the one that helps them see possibilities in themselves. Be Sarah. Sarah didn't have to come over to my house and do that. I'm sure it caused her incredible inconvenience to have to get up an extra 20 minutes early every single morning to come get my daughter for 4 months. But she did it. Reaching out to people, being that kind of person isn't always going to be convenient. It will require sacrifice, but the benefits are incredible. And if you go your whole business and you don't make millions, but you change a handful of lives, I promise you that at the end of your days, that will be huge for you. So be Sarah. When it gets hard, when you want to quit, when you don't think it's worth it, I want you to think about Sarah. And then be a Sarah for somebody. When someone pushes back on you, when they don't accept your invitation, they think that some MLM money game, or they misunderstand your intentions, and all that stuff happens, and you want to retreat somewhere. I want you to be Sarah. And know that retreating into yourself isn't a way that you make a difference in people's lives. Be Sarah. I love this quote. I don't want to live in the kind of world where we don't look out for each other. Not just the people that are close to us, but anybody who needs a helping hand. I can't change the way anybody else thinks or what they choose to do, but I can do my bit. Be Sarah. And the month of January, if you're looking for a starting point, help two. Be a Sarah for 2 people this month. You guys. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure to be with you guys.